think that works.
It
looks like we're streaming.
I think we're streaming.
Hello, Internet. Good morning. It's 9 a.m. Pacific Coast time up in Seattle. I'm Kendra Havens.
I'm Joey Robichaux.
Yeah. We should introduce ourselves
Let's
just
do
in
it.
case people have never seen us before.
You first.
And I have short hair, so they might think I'm someone else. So I'm Kendra Havens. I'm a program manager on the .NET and Visual Studio team. I mostly focus on .NET tooling. So that's why we're here at the .NET tooling version of the community stand-up.
And I'm Joey Robichaux. I'm a developer for the managed language part of Visual Studio and new to Microsoft and happy to be here.
Yay. How new are you? When did you join?
Not quite 7 months. I did get over that half-year mark, so.
Which is still totally onboarding in Microsoft terms. I've been here like over 2 years, and there's still so much I learn. Ooh. Okay. Anywho, how's our audio doing, Golden?
What mic
doing good?
What's this one?
This one?
It says mic 2.
Mic 2.
Keep going.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
There you are.
Okay. Good.
You're just a lot quieter.
Oh.
Oh.
I don't want to be quiet. Okay. So we have a bunch of interesting stuff to share today. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And I did it right. Okay. So first off, I kind of want to talk about productivity features that we have. Actually, there we go. I'll talk about productivity features that we have in Visual Studio 2019 preview, many of which Joey worked on. There's one big one that we'll get into. Then I'll talk a little bit about IntelliCode and some blog posts that have come up and that I found interesting, and that'll be tooling stand-up. Okay, so wait. I just didn't press the button hard enough. Okay, cool. So the first thing that, I would notice when I open Visual Studio 2019 is the new colorization for Rosslyn classifications. So you can see that methods are different, keywords are new, so if and else are now this purpley color. So Joey, you worked a ton on this.
I did.
And I have your PR open because it was so beautifully specced out.
Oh man.
Really stretching those PM skills. So this was adding enhanced color experiment for new classification. So all of this work was done open source on GitHub.
That's right.
Did you feel on the spot? Is it difficult to be on?
I had not worked in open source a lot, so getting that immediate feedback, the good ideas, the
less good ideas.
That sort of feedback was really, it made me excited to complete the feature and get it into all of your hands. So.
I feel like, was it a trial by fire? Because, I've been saying over and over again, colors, people can get so opinionated about.
They're super important.
We were talking, they had over 2,000 extensions for Visual Studio that were changing colors of fonts.
That's right.
For different languages and workloads. So people have gone nuts configuring all of these.
That's true. Yeah, so it's been a community ask for a long time, and there are certainly several extensions that have tried to fill the gap by providing the classifications for different identifier types, things like method names, properties, fields. We kind of started with that as our goal and just took it, I think, to the limit, maybe?
Yeah.
A lot of inspiration from VS Code. Certainly they had method color, they had different colors for the control keywords, the branching like if and for each, all that. And we took that and we put that in Visual Studio proper, so.
Yeah. It was nice having that feedback on VS Code because a lot of people really loved that coloring scheme.
I'll admit, I really loved VS Code. It was a great inspiration, and I'm happy to have that in my browser that I use every day.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it wasn't as clear to me in VS Code. Maybe I didn't use VS Code enough for active development and I didn't know what I was missing. But now that it's here, I just love a more colorful UI. It's really nice to use. I especially love the keywords that are different because they stand out so much more easily when you know you're using, like logic or a for loop or if statement,
And like you said, just so pleasing. Like the dark theme itself reminds me of like, I don't know, Starburst.
Oh my gosh, it's
You have
beautiful.
Starburst
What am
colors.
I doing in blue theme?
I mean, blue theme's nice. Don't get me wrong. Love blue theme. But I use dark theme. Yeah, that's really where
it's because
it shines.
I always have to demo things in blue theme, so I'm like, oh, we're doing a live stream. Got to do that. Look how nice that is. Oh my gosh.
So some of the new colors, things like
Zoom way in.
locals and parameters, are going to be colored in a blue color that we borrowed from VS Code. Back in 2017, those would have been white. But now they're blue, and you can get a difference between those and the member fields and properties, which still keep that white color. So now when you're in your method, you're writing code, you immediately see, oh, this is different. This is a property. This is a field. This is not something local to this method.
It feels friendlier to me. I don't know why. Okay. So you have like samples in the PR. So a lot of our discussion happened on GitHub. I think, do you want to talk about statics? Like one of the things we learned?
Sure, yeah.
Going through experiments.
One of the things we experimented with was making static symbols bold by default. Got lots of good feedback about this. I don't know if the world's ready for bold statics yet. We did an experiment, lots of feedback both from developer community on GitHub, told us that maybe we should step back, rethink this, and come up with a better plan for the future. So
they really jumped out at you if they were statics. But if you love statics, you can still turn it back on. I think it was symbol static, right?
Yeah,
so you can still like turn it on through fonts and colors because all of these symbol, or rather classifications that we added are still customizable.
That's right.
They were never there before.
That's true.
Right? So there's symbol static. Did we add that or was that there for a while?
We added that in the 2019 preview.
Okay.
You'll also see on the screen a set of user member classifications. These are all the new identifier types that we classified so that custom themes can provide the colors that you want, or get in there and tweak it yourself.
Yeah, because we know people love customizing.
That's right, yeah.
So we made it customizable because we're a platform. Like, we have some opinions, but we mostly try to let other people do what they want to do.
That's true. You get to be yourself.
Teach their own.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Okay. Anyway. So all of these user members are new. And you can customize them. Sorry if you can't see that on the live stream because it is too small font in my tools options. Cool. So I think we covered, everything I wanted to talk about in classifications. Is there a way to switch back to defaults now?
Yeah. Currently, if you're using Preview 3, you can go under Tools Options in General Preview Features. There's a checkbox to stop using enhanced colors, as we call it. In the official release, we're going to move that checkbox under text editor languages C# and Basic under the advanced pages there.
Okay. Cool. Sounds like a good plan. Okay, so we can find it there. Great. Just for people, because sometimes people might not like even more color.
It's true.
All right. So what have I been showing you? What is the solution? So I went ahead and took almost all of the recent features in different previews that we've had in Visual Studio. So it goes back to Visual Studio 2017, update 15.8. And then I have the Visual Studio 2019 Preview 1 and Preview 2 features, all in one solution. So if you want to follow along while I'm demoing these, you can go to my repository on GitHub. So if you want the short URL, you can use aka.ms/netfeatures2019.
That's right.
I did almost forget it. Here, I'll show. I'll type it out again. There it is. NetFeatures 2019. And it'll take you to the repository that I set up for this 2 minutes ago. Okay, cool. So in 15.8, we have a keyboard shortcut for format document. It's Control-KD. This will apply to whatever is in your, this will apply all of the settings currently in your editor config. Something we're also introduced in Visual Studio 2019 is one-click code cleanup. We did have a lot of people comment that they wanted like different keyboard shortcuts for format document and code cleanup, because code cleanup can apply fixes that aren't necessarily formatting issues, but are just like warnings in your compiler, like unused usings or something like that. So it's actually changing your code, not just formatting it. So in order to do that in 2019, we actually added these little editor features. I wonder if I should have made my environment font bigger. Sorry if you guys need to suffer through it. It's the small broom at the bottom of your editor. And when you click on it, you can configure code, well, you can run code cleanup, and it's Control-K, Control-E, or you can just click on the broom. And as you might have seen, it changed all of my vars to explicit types, because that's what I currently have configured. I can also change it to prefer var if I want to.
It's so handy to be able to do that with just one click.
Absolutely, that was such a popular ask.
I find myself using it all the time. So.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe soon we'll have an ability to not just do that from your editor, but your whole solution.
It's true.
I might have tweeted about it already, but we're still working out some kinks, so should be good. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is IntelliCode. So a lot of you might have heard of the IntelliCode extension. It offers smart completion and smart parameter suggestions based on the scenario that your code is in. I actually am not sure how many people have already seen this. So if you guys want to comment.
I've used it. It's great.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So if you guys want to comment on like YouTube or Twitch, Joey's monitoring the chat right now. Do we have anything? Just people joining.
Someone says that I should add some stickers to my MacBook.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
What do you think? It's very...
You just have Roslyn. What else do you need? No, that's cool. I have some stickers.
And we also got a little love for bold statics.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, people can turn it on, so that'll be good. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I don't know how many people have heard of IntelliCode before. So right in the chat window, we always demo these things at like different conferences, like Build and Ready and Ignite and Dev Intersection and VS Live, so many conferences. But we also have like millions of people, and I don't know which audience has seen what, so don't want to bore you all with IntelliCode stuff. But anywho, so it's a really cool extension. We do want to turn it on by default really soon. We're still trying to get more people on it so that we can further test it. And just work out kinks. It's always nice to have a lot of preview users or beta users. So I told you it can recommend like just smarter IntelliSense. So IntelliSense is normally just sort of a static alphabetical list. So it would normally start like right here at aggregate. But, ooh, my goodness. But IntelliSense bubbles up the most commonly used suggestions within that code scenario. So it was a machine learning model that we trained over 2,000 open source .NET repositories, and it learned what things are most commonly used based on the shape of the code, which is super cool. So if instead of like looking for a string array here, if I change this back to var, and triggered .completion again, it would say, okay, length is the most likely thing that people use here. And when I was at string array, it had been suggesting I use split. So it can kind of detect, like earlier in my code, what is most likely to be used. So if I change this to var again and type a dot again, it now suggests, so okay, right after you split a string, most people use trim right after that. So it's kind of detecting like even multiple lines above above where my cursor is, what is the most likely suggestion. So if I hit dot again, it now notices that, oh, I'm repeating this code, and it's suggesting split at the top of this. Just super cool. It also does parameter suggestions, which is good because split has like 10 different overloads. And so it's really easy to navigate that with quick info. And yeah, you can see the first one is starred, and that's how IntelliCode bubbles up the suggestion for you.
I always look for those stars when I'm looking at my completion, because usually what I'm looking for is right there in that list.
Excellent. That's what we're trying to do. And like, so Allison is like the IntelliCode PM. I was sad she couldn't be here today because she demos this so well. Because we also have an ability, IntelliCode can learn on your local code base.
Oh, so cool.
I know. So so we used 2,000 just repositories that were highly rated on GitHub, but it's, you know, kind of out in the wild. It might update monthly based on what code people are checking in, and we don't have a ton of control over like how the model is trained in that sense.
Oh, sure.
So if you have, especially if you have a huge code base and it's all internal to like your company, and you'd like the model trained on that, you can do it, and then it's totally your own AI trained model on your personal code base.
The future.
We are totally living in the future. I never would have suspected that we would, be working on this kind of thing in like 2014 when my first internship. Anyway, pretty cool. Okay, so I'll just run through all of the code fixes and quick actions. So we have inverting ifs, just all kinds of if statements. We have generally like inverting all conditional expressions and inverting values. Huge one is multi-cursor. So that's Control-Alt-Click, and I can place my cursor in multiple points in the screen and type from that. It's just super nice to have. I'm glad that got a big grin out of you, because that's like, I'm actually curious when this will stop. Every time I share this in a talk, I get like at least 2 people like, yeah, clapping really hard, and they're like, woo! Like I got that last month, like this January at Ready. It was great. Pretty cool. So you can invert a conditional expression. Whoops, hit the wrong keyboard shortcut. So I should have hit Control Dot. That's how I'm opening the tooltips on the side of my screen. I can also just place my cursor in here and click the light bulb in order to see what code fixes are being suggested for where my cursor is currently. So I can convert this to a conditional expression. In 15.8, we also added adding a parameter at the call site. So I just added this string to my method a call, and which caused an error, and it's now prompting me like, oh, you can just add that. And it changed the method a definition to include a string, v, as the parameter. Pretty nice. I'm super happy with this one. So I'll zoom way in. Okay, so zoomed in. So you might be able to tell these parentheses are slightly grayed out
Slightly.
more than these parentheses. So this is removing unnecessary parentheses because when I remove them, it doesn't actually change the meaning. And we also have adding parentheses if it's unclear. Oh, I don't actually think that'll work, but we can add parentheses to improve clarity is also a code fix that is suggested. We have for loops to for each. We have a ton of refactorings for the for loop family. I'm trying to think like how we should document this in our docs section. Like if we should just have one docs that's devoted to all of the loop conversions.
Oh, sure.
But I don't know if that would be too big, but at least it'd be one stop. Because right now we have like for loop to for each, we have for each to link, we have link to for each.
And that's expressions and method calls, right?
Yeah.
Like expressions.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's right. We have two different, link query bodies and link method calls, or what else did people use to talk about? Method bodies.
Yeah.
That's also what they would use. People used a few different words to talk about, like what link syntax you were using. So the link call form or method body is like all in one line for link, and it uses like a lambda. And the link query body is when like select and everything are on its own line. I had to figure that out when I was writing that doc. And we have for each back to for loop.
We do have a question about the parameter refactoring, and I don't know the answer, maybe you do. Is it smart enough to make that new parameter optional? If not, if there are multiple call sites and they don't all provide the parameter?
It's not right now,
Not
but
right
I've
now.
definitely run into that because it'll also cause more errors in your project if you use that in a bunch of different places and you didn't set the parameter before.
Although
we should add that.
Although it could be useful, I mean, if you started using that property in the method, or parameter in the method, maybe you need to go back and add it.
Yeah, I guess then you'd know. Oh, do you think we intentionally designed it that way?
We're pretty smart sometimes.
Did you make this one?
I did not make this.
Okay. Oh, I meant to say, Jody, you should call out the ones that you did because I'm sure you worked on a bunch of these. There's also like 50% of them at least are from the community too.
That's right.
I don't know which ones though.
We get a lot of community love on Roslyn.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially just, I think people sharing their scenarios and perspective is like basically as valuable as actually making a pull request.
Oh, sure.
Because if the scenario affects you and it's something that, our team wouldn't have thought of, like even if we do exhaustive testing and we have hundreds of test cases covering like a new code fix, there still might be some kind of pattern that we wouldn't have normally used just because we all sit in the same office.
That's right. And you may be representing a large portion of our user base, and you're
that we just don't know about.
the one to speak out.
Yeah. And we have, millions of developers on C#. That's a lot of possible scenarios. It's difficult for one team to cover it. So I guess that's why we went open source. I don't know. Could be. Okay, but we should definitely log a bug on that, I think. Or we'll talk about it in the design meeting.
That's right.
Log a bug if you really want it. And we'll probably bring it up in the design meeting. I could probably look up what PR created the add a parameter to call site code fix.
Oh, sure.
And ask whoever did that if we should do that or not, or if they thought about that case. Okay, really cool. So we also have link to for each. I was just talking about this one. So convert to for each. And you have to be really particular about making sure to select only the query body. Like if I include the semicolon at the end, it doesn't actually register. So you have to include everything after the equal sign, just the whole query body. Convert to for each. Pretty cool. We have a lot of things for just navigation. So we have Shift Alt open bracket to jump to the containing block, which is pretty nice if you just want to navigate your code. We also made some big improvements to Control T navigation. So I hit Control T, and if I type R, you can see that I have this go to recent files selection that I can do, and these are all the things that I recently had open, which is super nice. Also, new in 2019 is the ability to view the CS Proj in this preview mode.
I've used this quite a bit because, especially now that we keep package references inside the CS Proj.
Yeah.
It's just easier for me sometimes.
Yeah, so much easier, very configurable. I believe it's only for .NET Core because it's a different type of CS Proj. What you can also do is double click on your project, or if you just click it, you'll see a preview. But if you double click, it opens the .cs Proj folder, so you don't have to like right click and edit.
Nice.
Love double click. Some people were like against that because double clicking on your project node in the Solution Explorer used to collapse everything, and it kind of makes their flow different, but I think overall people are pretty happy with it. Cool, so those were all of the things in like update 15.8. You can still get those in Visual Studio 2017 if you're still on that until 2019 goes out of preview and we actually release it.
That's right.
Which I think will be in April. I think we announced that really recently, like April 2nd.
That sounds right.
Maybe I should Google that and confirm before I actually announce things. Okay, so these are the ones that are all in Visual Studio 2019 Preview 1. In addition to the Roslyn colors, that's a 2019 thing.
That's right.
Yeah. IntelliCode, however, the extension can be installed on anything, even like 2015. It supports a ton. So that's nice. So in Preview 1, we added Regex Colorization. So you'll see, and like language support in general. So you see I actually get brace matching within the regex. It's not just like a static string anymore, like this one is. It also can give me some amount of warnings. So if I delete that, I'll get a little error that says like, yo, you're using too many parentheses, which is pretty cool. And you can also declare the string as a regex if you use comments, or by using comments. So if I have language equals regex with explicit capture, it'll actually colorize and recognize the next line as being part of regex.
And this is an example of a community feature that, I mean, just is so huge.
Yeah.
I mean, so useful. Working with regex can be a little daunting just because it's regex, but
definitely.
Yeah, this gives you a little bit more understanding of as you're writing it.
You mean you don't just like, so this is useful for those of you who don't just unendingly copy and paste from Stack Overflow like I do. I don't actually understand regex. No. So yeah, and it's so much more, I feel like our theme is like more colors because regex is more colorful, classifications are colorful. I don't know, it's exciting. Cool, so I think I mentioned before, you can convert for each loops to link. That is the link query form. And then I can also convert it to the link call form. And again, I'm just putting my cursor in the for each keyword and hitting Control dot. Do I have any comments? What are the friends on the internet saying?
Well, we have a question. Where's the best place to provide feedback for Visual Studio features?
Oh my gosh.
And of course, we have the built-in feedback button in Visual Studio itself.
Right up here.
That's right.
This little guy, send feedback, right by my name. And I can report a problem, and it pops open a little dialog that will capture some info about your, let's see. Oh, now it just launches the browser. Okay, the developer community. Cool.
But yeah, it'll capture information about your environment. So if you're reporting a bug, we get some extra detail to help work it out. It's yeah, it's the best place.
Does it always capture your Visual Studio version?
I believe that's part of it. Yeah.
Okay, because that's probably one of the most helpful things to know before if you're seeing a bug, because we're like, oh, good, when did we regress that? And we really need to know. Yeah, there's also the suggestive feature button. If it's not exactly a problem, it's just something you'd really like to have.
That's right.
And so we go through suggestions every week.
We don't have a monopoly on good ideas.
No.
Good idea can happen to anybody.
Especially not me.
So please share if you have one.
Yeah. So it goes straight there. You'll notice that really just popped open a web page. They're all logged on developer community. So it's developercommunity.visualstudio.com. I'm not going to give feedback. And if you're logged in, you can actually go to like all of the items that you've recently logged and like look at you know, all of the different updates that people have done. If someone's marked it needs more info, or if, ooh, it's super popular. Okay. Another good way to engage with the team is you can also just directly file issues on our GitHub repo.
That's true, and this will be for the C# and Visual Basic.
Yeah. And we have a lot of different repositories, so if you don't know which repository to log in on, it might be easier just to use the tool, the send feedback tool in Visual Studio, and we'll triage it for you. But if you want to just create a new issue on Roslyn, we totally look at those and triage them. Every week we do design review. It's always super helpful if you provide any kind of repro solution. Saves an immense amount of time. So yeah, we always ask for like the steps to reproduce and expected behavior and version used. Yeah, so that's like Roslyn. It would be all like tooling and analyzer feedback. If you have feedback for like C# specifically, that would be on C# Lang. So github.com/.net/C# Lang. Yeah, and we also give those a gander. Cool.
From YouTube, we have the question, is there a feature to be able to set the maximum number of characters per line when you run format document?
No, I want it so much.
And this is something that we've discussed quite a bit too. And it would be part of our code style. We'd create an editor config property for you to set. However, there's been discussion by the core editor config team that they want to introduce their own, and we did not want to have any sort of mismatch there. But it's something we've been discussing. It's something that's highly requested, and it'll be in a future version, I'm sure.
Yeah, we definitely have an open bug on it that we're tracking, so go and heart this one. It's Roslyn issues 15406 if you want to upvote it or you want to weigh in on your scenario.
That's right.
Gosh, I would love that so much. I also logged a bug for this. It must have been closed as a duplicate, which is okay. But yeah, I would love max column length. We do have there is an extension right now that will wrap it for you just inside the editor, and it doesn't actually add a new line character, which is really nice. Yeah, so it's just a visual. I know it's an extension. I don't think I'll be able to find it right now. But that's pretty sweet. Cool, so I'll go back to what I'm showing. So we also added a code fix. So let's say I am copying and pasting code from a different place in my code base, like a different file. So let's say I didn't actually have the newtonsoft.json using that I needed. Now I'm getting a code fix to actually just add that using at the top of my code. So especially if it's a huge block, this guy was just added. It's super helpful to add. And if I tried to copy and paste this, but I didn't actually have a newtonsoft.json reference, it'll also prompt me to install the latest package.
Nice.
And so actually, I'll go ahead and show that. It's cool. So if I went to NuGet and I removed that reference, and I didn't have that guy, and I had copy and pasted JSON convert into it, I get this prompt to find and install the latest Newtonsoft.json. So it actually kind of indexes, I think, the top 1,000 NuGet packages that are most popular, which is so cool.
So useful.
It's so useful. Man, I wish I had those years ago. But yeah, it's, it's super useful. Now I don't know when people will learn about like the NuGet package manager and when they have to go get stuff because it's all taken care of in the in the editor. Yeah, so we added a few tuple conversions. So this is converting a tuple to a struct. And there it is in preview. So it kind of generates all of the code you would need for that. It's pretty nice. So we have dead code analysis on unused private members. So this is private. I never actually call this. I'm getting 3 dots as a suggestion. You'll also notice this is slightly grayed out, like when you compare it to other method names. And the code fix is just to remove all of this entirely because it's never actually used. So this is adding an await where there is an implied await, but you forgot to actually put it there.
Really?
Yeah, that's really useful.
I have not used that yet.
I haven't either. I'm usually like too worried to use async all the time, so if I bother to use it, I'm either copying a pattern that I know is trusted, yeah, or like looking up exactly what I need. Maybe that's sad, but I work mostly in demo code or reproducing issues. Don't judge me. Okay, so we also have converting a local method to an actual method, a non-local method, sorry. Forget how so I had string hello world as a local method inside of my convert to local function method, and the code fix could pop that out, which is nice. Just nice little things. We have generate a deconstructor. Woo! Lots of errors. So as soon as I uncomment that, you can hit the code fix that will automatically generate a deconstruct. And it actually only generates the deconstruct stub, and it has a not implemented exception in there. But we're getting there.
It's a start.
Yeah. I have a ton more to do. Should I just kind of wrap up and... Like, y'all know where the project is if you want to keep following along and do the rest of it. I don't know. Maybe I'll just try to go really fast, and then we can talk about other stuff. So we have converting in, let's see. Yeah, converting an anonymous type to tuple. So, whoops, where do I need my cursor? And this is another particular one. Oh, sorry, I need my cursor to be placed in the new keyword, and then it offered to convert my anonymous type to tuple. There we go. So that's a good way to like know whether or not you can introduce your tuple into a code, or into your code. It's pretty nice. And then again, I can convert an anonymous type to a class. So we kind of did a bunch of anonymous type conversion code fixes. Was that community? I feel like it.
I'm not sure.
I should have been more prepared. But it's stand-up. It's supposed to be like whatever's on our mind, right? Okay. We're super excited. Oh, I love this one. It's wrapping parameters. We have a bunch of different options for like aligning and indenting and all of that.
I'm so excited. There's been so many times I've been going through code and it's just scrolled off the side of my screen and I'm like, how do I fix this? Or at least make it easy on me. So I think currently it'll wrap at 120 characters.
Okay.
And, or you can also choose some of the other options, which include wrapping every single parameter. Yeah, pretty sweet. Yeah, we have a few different options here. This could definitely be like more configurable, but we're interested to see like what people most need and want to see in this space. And we're so excited to have it. Let's see, so this would be using expression bodies for
or block bodies for lambda. So you can convert it to, so see how it's like all in one line and it's in the call form, so you can press enter and that converts it to a block body, or also known as an expression body.
That's right. Especially useful when you need to add some more logic in there. And
Just
saves
opens
you
it up.
stuff.
Oh yeah. I mentioned we could invert conditionals as well as like if statements earlier. We have, this is a little one, just converting to a compound assignment, which I really like. So it just does plus equals 10 instead of like you rewriting x. It's just a little thing, I don't know. So we have a fix now that's like constant variables cannot be implicit, so it's converting to an explicit. This one's interesting. So if I try to do at $sign and then type a string, it switches to $at as I go. Yeah, it fixes it for you. So it's like an automatic.
Well, it's hard to remember. Is it
command handler.
$, add, $?
For sure. I had to concentrate extra hard to make sure I typed it so that we'd see the fix. Hashtag demo problems. Oh, this is a huge one. So we added a new column to our find all references dialog. Woo. Docking everything. It's so weird if you do a lot of demos. Okay, so we have this kind column now that categorizes references by read write.
Useful.
Yeah. Did you do this one?
I did not do this one.
Okay.
I think Manish did this one. And it's super handy.
That sounds about right. Very cool. I'm sure the community reviewed it and stuff. Yeah, it's really nice. So we categorize what type of reference it was, and you can even like order by this column and like sort by this column. So if I only wanted to see like read references, I could uncheck these and it'd only show me the references that it read from. It's pretty cool. I guess write would be more useful, but anyway. Only show me write references. Boom. Cool. So there's more. Oh, I'm so close to the end. I'll just do the rest of them and then we'll talk about other stuff. I said we could go an hour. I kept planning to do like 30 minutes because I'm like, I don't know, they're just a bunch of code fixes. It takes like 1 minute to do each of them. But then we get talking. So this one's kind of cool. So usually when you type an enter here, it just adds in a new asterisk. There we go, not apostrophe. And when you would normally write the backslash to end the comment, there used to always be a space there, and it wouldn't actually work. So like I'm still getting an error, but now we know to automatically delete the space because it's most likely you just want to end that comment block.
Right, yeah.
It's pretty nice. Yeah, so I already talked about we can open a CS Proj with a double click. Pretty sweet. And we also have a code fix for like removing unused parameters. Oh, sorry. We don't have the code fix for that. We have a warning that it's an unused parameter. You can delete it yourself. But we do have a warning for an unused variable that comes with the code fix to actually erase that line. Pretty nice. We added a new option, so I'll hit Control-RI in our extract interface dialog to add it to the current file instead of just a completely new file, so that little button is new. So we added it there. Okay, and we also have a poll members up refactoring. Now this was super highly requested. So you can put your cursor in any member and open this poll members up dialog. I just hit, sorry, I did that really fast. You can open the poll members up dialog with the screwdriver on the side and the margin. You can hit Control dot to open that. And it opens up this dialog. You select the interface and what members you want to pull up. And it added my pull up method to my interface.
Saves so much typing.
Yeah.
And navigating. And
yeah, definitely. Okay, cool. So we like ran through all of the features. Low-key, that's what I'm going to be demoing for like the next few months when like Visual Studio 2019 goes GA and stuff.
This was good practice.
Yeah, definitely. It'll just be all of those code fixes, but in like a more realistic app, so that when I demo it, people will be like, oh, I would use that. That's what I'm going for. So I talked a lot about like our features. Let's talk about like blog posts and stuff that's been happening. So I know in the languages, in the last stand-up, in languages, they talked about Anthony D. Green's blog post, his exhausting blog post on the differences of C# and Visual Basic.
I've just started. It's so much.
Well, it's so massive. I despite anyone has finished it.
It's super useful too.
Yeah. It's really interesting. So it's not exhaustive, but it was very clear about the terminology, but he covers so much in it. And I know they talked a lot about it in the last stand-up, but I just wanted to bring it up again in case you missed that. It's really interesting. So like Anthony used to work at Microsoft, and and he's now a part of the community, and he had a huge hand in the development of Visual Basic. And like we've written many books on like Rosslyn and C# and Visual Basic, but there can be more written for sure. There's stuff we probably haven't documented. And it's really good to have, the people who were there, who were really invested in the tool, just doing a mind dump. It's really awesome. I should link that somewhere, but I'd have to go find it. And in order to find it, I'd have to open my Facebook Messenger, because that's where we all chat. But anyway, so that's really cool. Another blog post that came out was sort of a big change to our docs site. So I really love docs.microsoft.com. It's open source. Everything comes in. Oh, why aren't I signed in? I don't know. I wanted to show you all the edit button. There we go, to PR. So like all pages on docs.microsoft.com, almost all of them, have this little edit document button, and it takes you to where that page is hosted in Markdown on GitHub, and you can click the edit button again on the Markdown and just actually like add a space, propose the file change, and like make a PR, and it forks it all for you. You can stay in the browser even if it's just a small change. It's really nice. So like I'm a huge fan of our docs website, and it looks like now we've opened a specification section for people to incorporate like Windows, SQL, Office, and SharePoint documentation next to all of our other developer documentation.
This can be great.
It's just a massive undertaking. I don't know, I'm floored that, like, it's already hard to manage docs between Visual Studio and .NET and ASP.NET. We all used to have like our own different websites and for different documentation, and we've been trying to unify it and make it like more predictable, which I love, because having consistent UI, it's kind of like the Wikipedia effect.
Oh, sure.
Consistent UI makes information so much easier to process. This is one of the reasons I struggle with keeping our team notes in OneNote, because everyone uses different formatting, and I just want to die. Anyway, so I don't know, it's cool. It's just like expanding the docs epic, the docs empire. Anyway.
Be a one-stop shop. That'd be great. Yeah,
for sure. Cool. So another blog post I found that was from the community. I was searching last night because I wanted to find blog posts that were like particularly focused on .NET tooling, which to me means analyzers. Like all of the code fixes that you just saw are essentially Rosslyn analyzers, and the diagnostics and everything. So tooling means analyzer, so I guess I'll focus on blogs on analyzers. I'm sorry if I didn't find one that you guys have seen recently that you want called out. Please chat it to me, because I'd love to read it. So I was searching around online, and I don't know Gérald Barré super well, but I really started liking some of his other posts, and I noticed he had made one on Rosslyn analyzers. He also had a super cool one on computing code coverage for .NET Core and Azure DevOps with Coverlet. So Coverlet has a global tool now, which is lovely, getting into that global tool game. And it was just super cool. So you can add it as like any old task through Azure DevOps, and he figured out a really nice like visualization with Cobertero. What do you call that again? Hold on, I'll find it. Cobertura. Heard of it?
I've not heard of it.
I definitely haven't said it out loud before. As with most things, as with most new tools and new spaces. Anyway, so it provides like really nice visualizations of code coverage in the browser of your, CI/CD servers. It's just super, super nice. But sorry, I meant to call out his Roslyn Analyzer blog post. So I think we have good documentation on Roslyn Analyzers on getting started, but I don't think, there's so much more past your first Roslyn Analyzer, like to really get comfortable, I think, calling into like the semantic model and the syntax tree. It is difficult to explore still, and I'm really, really appreciative of people who write blog posts on how to explore that, on how to work with types in Roslyn. It's just really useful. So his blog is meziantu.net. Yeah, cool. And then I just had my project to share. So again, all of the code fixes that I just showed off were in github.com/KendraHaven/productivity features. Cool. That's all I have planned for today.
I'm out. There's nothing. Looking over the chat, I think we got things covered. So.
Sweet. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for participating in chat on both like the .NET Foundation GitHub and our Visual Studio Twitch channel. It's been super fun. Thanks for all of you who came over from Fritz's live stream, his constant live stream where he lives in Twitch. No.
And this is recorded. This will be available on YouTube with all the other wonderful shows.
Yeah. I suspected they might know that if they got to the end of the video. And who knows? Maybe they skipped to the end. All right. Thanks, guys, so much for tuning in. I'm Kendra Havens.
I'm Joey Robichaux.
We'll see you later. Have a good day. Bye. Let's see. Now I have to...